Hello and welcome to Football Home Podcast. We are back for another episode. We'll just get straight into the Premier League results from the weekends and the Premier League matches. We'll try and get through them as fast as we can. Just get the results up. Let's start with the Liverpool-Arsenal game, actually, just why not? Warren, we have to come to you. Your thoughts on the game?
The game was good. It wasn't a train smash. Liverpool defensively obviously dropped the ball again, conceding the goal within the first minute. Overall, they bounced back, but there's a lot of issues there. Me personally, as a fan, I'm not happy with the team right now, but we just got to push on. And I think the big talking points here with this match was, the referee and some of the calls that he made. And there's a big debate about whether there should have been a penalty for the handball and whether the other penalty shouldn't have been given. But yeah, it is what it is. We can't do anything about it. We face City next, so yeah, congrats to Arsenal.
Richard, I don't know if you can hear us. I know you're there somewhere. We'll come back to him, shall we? Andreas, there's Richard. Okay. Are we just talking about the Liverpool-Arsenal game there, Richard? Got your thoughts?
We can't hear you.
First of all, one of the most important things in that game, I think it just shows we tried to reinvent ourselves, play in a different way, and unfortunately, it kind of still didn't work out. But I think Liverpool's main weakness is the space between the fullbacks and the centre backs, because usually that's a space that's like exposed during the counter attacks, and I think Klopp has kind of tried to fix that by making Trent play as an inverted fullback, kind of a third centre back, and that's kind of been improving. But obviously, with Trent being injured, that has implications of its own.
Yeah. Quickly, just with the match, I think these are two giants, and this is finally an Arsenal team that's just a little bit back to what they have been in the past, and that's great to see. I think looking at it from Liverpool's perspective, I think as a Liverpool fan, you guys just have to understand that right now it's just about getting up there again. And I think exactly. I heard you say it, Warren, a few days ago, that you are getting used to understanding that you're probably not winning this season. And that's like you can still do it and stuff like that, and there's still Champions League, but at the end of the day, it's more like the problem is big right now, so it's more about getting through this season and hopefully a Champions League spot, and then you guys can come back to trying to win next year maybe. But because right now it and I can kind of see this with Chelsea. Right now it is more about getting back to being a confident Champions League place than it is trying to win the league. And I think that that's a fair thing that happens to every club, that unless you're a city that has an unlimited amount of money. So I think that's fair from Liverpool's perspective, and also just Arsenal is doing great, and I think that's really important to look at. I don't think this is Liverpool losing. I think this is Arsenal just showing that they are a great team, and I think that's important. And having matches with two giants like this, getting 5 goals in a match, that's just fun to see.
For football in general,
yeah.
Trent was a big problem again. He was at fault for a couple of the goals. He's starting to become a big issue this season. He's been really solid before. He was England's number 1 right back. He was one of Klopp's go-to players. What's changed? What's changed this season? Is it the formation? Is it players are just finding him out easily more? what's happened to him? A confidence thing, or what's going on? Anybody have any thoughts on that?
We can't hear you, Warren.
I'm saying I'm good. No, I've said I said my piece on Trent. I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Richard, what's your thoughts on Trent? What's going
I
on?
always tell people that in Liverpool's style of play, Trent's use in Liverpool is to more be a creative outlet than it is to be a defender. And people are like, oh, if you're right back, you have to defend. But Liverpool play in a different way. We play a high line, so that affords us the opportunity for our fullbacks to be higher up and contribute creatively. So people are also suggesting that maybe Trent could play as a midfielder or more something of a wing back if Liverpool do adopt a back three system. Maybe that could work better. But I think Trent is more useful than not useful. So people looking at a defense is just poking something. But I think, in my opinion, he's one of the best right backs in the world, if not the multiverse.
I think quickly. Looking at it from my perspective, I think the difference is that usually it has been okay that Trent has been this offensive, because there is no argument that he's better offensive than he is defensive. And
Yeah.
that's okay. That's just how it is. But I think the problem right now is that the defensive in Liverpool in general and the midfield is just worse than it usually is. So you need Trent to be this great defender, which is not what he is. But that is going to be like, people is going to look more at that when the defensive is not working. When Van Dijk and the rest of the defensive, the midfield, when they're doing great, then people will not really look at Trent as a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I think that's why we are talking about it so much right now compared to earlier seasons.
Fair enough. We'll move on to the next game, the first game of the weekend, which was actually one of the biggest games of the weekend, really, because of the two sides' placement in the table. Brighton against Spurs. Spurs won that just. Anybody have any particular thoughts on this one?
I can start.
Yeah.
This is also just a great game. Like, Brighton is really doing good this season, and I think I've said this earlier that I was kind of expecting it to be Potter that was the main reason for them being this great. And so far they have showed that they are still really good without him. And I think that's really interesting. And I think it's just like they have really, of course he was the one starting it, but they have really grown a DNA in their team and the whole club as a whole. And that's just great to see. And losing 1-0 to Spurs, that's not bad. Like, it's Spurs, Kane, Son, like probably one of the, if not the best offensive team in the entire Premier League right now. So that's not bad at all. And Spurs are still a great team. We have talked about this with the mentality and stuff like that, if they are good enough to win anything big. But no matter what, they're still Spurs and still a great team and will still be in top of the table. So yeah.
Yeah, I think watching the game, Spurs could have easily scored 2-3 goals. I mean, with the combination of, like you mentioned, Son and Harry Kane. I mean, even Benteke, who's a midfielder, also tried to score a goal. Was just slightly off. But like I said, this could have easily been a terrible defeat for Brighton, who's had an amazing journey, even in the instability of losing an important manager for them. And I mean, Trossard is shining. There's just so many players that are doing well. So props to them, and they shouldn't take this defeat too hard.
Fair enough. We will move on. City Southampton. We found out that Erling Haaland is human. Who'd have thought? Took him 60 minutes to score. Warren, welcome to you for this one.
Okay, yes, quite enjoyable game. I watched the entire game. It was quite enjoyable to watch. Haaland hitting the post was like that can happen to him. But overall, Foden is magnificent this season. Just proved it again. What a monster! And I think with Mahrez scoring as well, um, it just showed that we've been saying, without Haaland, City's gonna crumble. But I mean, I don't know about that. Um, they are just. I mean, Kevin De Bruyne didn't even shine this weekend. It was still an amazing game to watch. Cancelo was, I think, the man of the match, and he just. I mean, that team is just such a force right now. And Southampton. I mean, last season they gave City a run for their money. They had 2 draws last season, and this season they couldn't do anything. And I don't know what's happening with Southampton. I think they're really, really going down the slope, and I'm a bit worried for them, to be honest.
Yeah. Andreas?
Yeah, I think with Southampton, I've said this before, I think they're getting relegated. I think it's looking really, really bad for Southampton. And to be honest, like I predicted 4-0, but at the same time I was looking at the game, I was actually surprised that City didn't win with more, because City should be much, much better than Southampton, as how Southampton are right now. But I think
they were 4-0 up within an hour, so they had plenty of time to score another.
Yeah, exactly. And I think with Foden, I think Warren is spot on. Foden is in the few last 3 seasons or something. I don't know how long he has been playing there, but the few last seasons people have been talking about Foden as this great potential that can be a huge star and all this kind of stuff. But this season, it looks like he is finally becoming that star that we have been talking about for a long time now. And that's just great to see, because like he is an amazing player. And I think just with City in general, I've said this before. I don't think they will be in trouble when Haaland is not there. Surely Haaland is a great help for them in scoring goals, but like City did it before he came there. They keep scoring goals because they are just such a great team together, and they've done that time after time, season after season, and they will keep doing that with or without Haaland, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, Phil Foden is definitely a class player, I think. And there's a lot of talk that maybe he's being played out of position. A lot of talk that he's more of a number 10 CAM kind of a player, but he's being forced to play wing because they have too many quality midfield options. You can't really argue with that, but yeah, that's a good question. I think he does well on the wing, to be fair, and he's performed in the last couple of games. Obviously got a hat-trick in the United game, did well on the weekend against Southampton. Just about where he fits in, maybe in the England squad, or where his natural position is. Maybe he could play number 10 and Bernardo Silva could go back out to the wing, or there's any number of options. I think the midfield is probably better than the front 3. I think their midfield options are better than the front 3 options, because we know, obviously, Jack Grealish isn't the greatest. They've got rid of Sterling. They've got rid of Jesus. So they kind of have less options up front. But yeah, that's that, I guess.
Yeah. I think with that, I think you can do a lot of things. Like you can argue, should he play here? Should he play there? But like 4-0, what did they win against Copenhagen? 5-0. Like they're just great. And even just having a team where you can be like, should he play here? Should he play here? That's just great in itself, that you have all these options. But yeah, the midfield is stronger. I would say the midfield is stronger than their wings. But I feel like he can play either position, to be honest, and do it great.
He'll be a big part of that City team and the England team for a long time to come. And I think England and City both need to kind of build a team around him at this point, because he is just quality. He has very special talent, and yeah. Move on to the next game. Chelsea versus Wolves. Chelsea took their time to get going in this one, but they eventually got going. Warren, we'll come to you for this one, seeing as we didn't talk to you for the...
Yeah. Okay. Chelsea, Wolves, big showdown, Diego Costa back at Stamford Bridge, and everybody expected it to be this, stampede of a match, and it wasn't. I think Graham Potter's doing amazing work with Chelsea, and they slowly getting back to the Chelsea that we are used to. And I mean, I don't know. I can't remember the scoreline. 3-0, sorry. 3-0. And I can't remember who scored, but it was from the highlights. Just an amazing performance from Chelsea overall. Super duper proud of the team as a general, and yes, like I said, they're slowly coming into form again, and I can clearly they number 6 or number 5 on the league right now, on the log, and that's great to see them bounce back from the earlier dip.
Yeah. The goal scorers were Kai Havertz, Christian Pulisic, and a debut goal for a first ever goal for Armando Broja.
Oh yeah, perfect, yeah.
Andreas, you're the Chelsea fan here.
Amazing! Like it, I'm so happy. Like six goals scored and 0 conceded in our last 2 games in Champions League and Premier League. 3 against Milan, 3 against Wolves. So of course I'm really happy about that. No, I think you're very, very spot on that in the beginning. I think 15 minutes, maybe even longer, it looked very, very bad. Not bad, but like every time we had the ball, we lost it or did not know what to do with it, and I was worried. And before the match, I was like, oh shit, Costa is back. I was expecting a goal from him. And I still think that will come. I still think that he will end up being really, really, really important for Wolves. But for this game, just great. Like again, it did not look good in the beginning, but we got it together and scored 3 goals. And like just Havertz, I have been really, really critical about Havertz because I don't think he has been good enough for us. And now he's starting to score, and I think that's always the thing when you get a new manager. It's always really, really fun to see which players are the ones that's going up because of this guy joining. And Havertz and Aubameyang right now looks like they are really beneficial of a new manager. And Broja as well, our new guy that there's been a lot of talks of and I was like, okay, is this going to work? And finally he got a goal. So that's just great. I think that's to see how offensive we are playing right now and still having a defense that I don't think it's the best defense, but we are able to have the clean sheets and then have the offensive with all these guys that I have been so worried about finally starting to score. That's just so great. So yeah, really, really, really happy about that. And I'm very, very optimistic about us right now. So great.
The big question is actually something we discussed in our chat was about the lineup. There's not a settled lineup right now. Chelsea. I mean, we were kind of looking at the lineup and thought, okay, this is probably a weak side. This is a very Tuchel-esque lineup. He is. Yeah. I think. Yeah. Potter is kind of struggling a little bit to kind of find his best 11. I know that he did get asked about this actually on Match of the Day in the highlights by the BBC, and he did kind of say that the schedule was an issue, that he's trying to balance everyone and trying to make sure that everyone gets enough game time, that they're not overworked or whatever. So I guess that's something, but is that an issue? Do you think that the team is constantly changing? They're not having enough time to kind of gel together?
I don't know. When Tuchel joined us, he played with everyone. Everyone was playing, and he kept making changes for every game. So I don't know if it's a struggle. If it keeps going, then it's a struggle, of course. But I don't think it's weird that when you're a new manager that you want to try your entire team. I don't think that's weird. Now, if we have gone out and lost this match because Aubameyang was not really playing a lot, James was not playing, Sterling was not playing, then it would have clearly been an issue. But we score 3 goals, so there's not really an issue on that. But of course, if he keeps making these changes and stuff like that, then of course it will be a problem. But for right now, I don't think it's a struggle. It's just a new manager wanting to play with his team and see what they can do. So yeah.
And great to see Broja getting a first goal.
Absolutely.
Okay. We will move on. Newcastle-Brentford, which is an interesting game. We'll come to you first, Richard. I know you're a big Newcastle lover at the moment.
Yeah, this game was actually fun to watch. I even made oopsie, my lighting's acting up. I even made a tactical board sort of like video on it. I think Brentford's attack was quite okay in this game. I mean, I know they only scored 1 goal, but it's not really a good description of what happened in the game. I think Brentford's flaw this game was their centre backs and their goalkeeper. I think 3 of the goals they conceded were due to mistakes, 2 from the goalkeeper and 1 from a centre back via an goal. So this game could have easily ended as a 2-2 or a 2-1 win for Newcastle. So I don't know what happened to Raya. Maybe it's credit to Newcastle because their forwards are really, really good at those high pressure situations up, and doesn't seem like Brentford got it right when it came to starting the ball from the back. They were just caught off hard, and then I think Raya's confidence really decreased, and he ended up making more silly mistakes to cost Brentford a very much needed win. But props to Newcastle. I mean, this team. I mean, we're seeing the effects of oil money at this point. Like, they're really a solid team. They keep winning games week in, week out. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow they even got a Champions League position, to be honest. But I think maybe Europa is their best shot. Let's not be.
Yeah. I think Champions League is probably just a little bit ambitious, especially
Exactly.
with the sides ahead of them. That I think Brighton probably have more chance of the Champions League spot than Newcastle. But it's still early days. We're not even halfway through the season yet, so anything can happen in the back end.
Yeah, and just one more thing. I think Trippier is just such a quality player. I mean, I think the second goal was his assist. He literally almost like kicked it like Trent from the back to close to goal. Someone headed in, and it was just such a beautiful goal. So props to him. He's really turned into a world-class player, in my opinion. But yeah.
Warren, any thoughts?
I love Newcastle at the moment. Honestly, they're slowly turning into my guilty pleasure. I said it about Nottingham Forest, but I'm slowly being converted into being, St. James Park Newcastle lover. If you look at my fantasy team, I've got 3 players of them in right now. That's how that's how great they have been. I mean, wow. Miguel Almiron, that guy is second week in a row that he's just been delivering, top class performance, gems of goals that he's scoring, and they've got Callum Wilson back in. They didn't even need St. Maxim, who was on the bench. I'm telling you, it's been so great to watch them, and even though they had the draw against Bournemouth, I mean, let's not talk about that. But the last couple of games have been amazing, and even without Isak, they are doing so well. They didn't even need him, like Isak, who. But honestly, yes. And then Brentford has been such a disappointment for me lately. And I mean, they got lucky with the penalty, and some people say it shouldn't have been a penalty, but what do we know? But Tony got his goal, great for my fantasy team. But I mean, overall, Newcastle, I think they can play Europe next season if they continue on this rate.
Yeah, for sure. The Brentford did have a goal disallowed. They did take the lead, I think.
Yes, with Brian Mbeumo.
Yes.
Yeah, Brian Mbeumo. The question is, should it have been allowed? it looked like he might have been blocking Fabian Schär. VAR again causing issues.
Problems.
I think also Ivan Toney came from an offside position to interfere with the play. I'm not sure if he touched the ball or not, like a slight assist, but either way, he came from an offside position to interfere with the play. So I get why maybe the goal was disallowed.
Yeah.
And had the goal that was scored by Brentford first, that could have changed the identity of the game. Who knows? But these things happen.
Yes.
And there was a clear handball as well for the penalty that Tony scored as a clear handball for Newcastle, so no real issues there. We will move on. The final game on Saturday was the Leicester-Bournemouth game. Leicester still struggling. We thought maybe the Nottingham Forest game might inspire them and might inspire a big comeback, but no, it's just same old Leicester. Bournemouth
Even
keep going. Andreas, do you have any thoughts on this?
Yeah, well, I think with Leicester, it's just, I don't even know what to say. To be fair, I think Bournemouth has been really, really good lately. When the season started, I was like, maybe they survive, maybe they don't. I was like, it can go either way, but I did not expect them to be over top 15 at the end of the season. And that it can still go wrong, of course, but right now I think they are 8 in the table. I know it's early, and I know every team is really, really close to each other, but that's really impressive. So as much as Leicester is just doing bad, I think also Bournemouth deserve credit for winning this match. But yeah, Leicester, it's just. Yeah, I don't even know what to say about it.
It's becoming painful to watch them.
It is.
Because
it's just like, even here they go out and score a goal. They are good in the offensive. They actually, like, I don't have the exact statistics, but they have scored a good amount of goals. But the problem just is that they have conceded over 20 goals. And so it does, like, that. It really is the defensive that's a problem.
Richard?
Yeah, I was going to say, just to sum it up, I mean, Leicester dominated every possible stat in this game, and they finished off the first half with the win, 1-0. It seemed like, I don't know what went wrong in the second half. We just broke down, and then, it also highlights the just general weakness that they don't have the players. And, again, it's just blaming management, but statistically, they really dominated every aspect of the game. Maybe they were just unfortunate, but sometimes, an unlucky game could be what gets you relegated from the top league at the moment.
Okay, we'll move on to the Sunday games. Palace 2-1 against Leeds was the early game, I believe. Warren, any thoughts on this particularly?
Kind of surprised that Leeds took the lead early on in the game. I think it was like the 4th or 5th minute that they got a goal in, and Palace was just relentless afterwards, and they were like, no, you're not taking these points away from us. And they basically just came in full force and scored 2 goals. Zaha was involved again. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy that they won because they've been kind of slipping lately. They're in the bottom half of the table. But glad for Palace that they won. Don't know what's happening with Leeds at the moment. They started the season strong, and I feel like the wheels are coming off now, and they slowly going back to the old ways. So hopefully they can turn it around. But amazing, great match. But I think overall Palace deserved the win, just based on performance.
Fair enough. Richard?
Yeah, I think this game could have very much also been one of those games that ends up in a draw, but Crystal Palace had the slight edge in the game. in terms of the chances they have. But I think for Leeds, I mean, I lost Jesse Marsh, so I think he's done a decently good job at the beginning of the season. But I think he's lost, Leeds as a whole has lost an important player in the midfield in Calvin Phillips, and certain players have been injured throughout at Leicester's sort of like start into the season. So I think Jesse Marsh doesn't have the best team at the moment. But I'm pretty sure if anyone can fix it, it's him. So we'll see how well he does.
Yeah, they have fallen away a lot, Leeds, actually, from the start of the season. I know they went and beat
Chelsea
at one stage. They were looking really good. They looked like they had a nice identity, nice brand of football, but now they're just struggling a lot.
They're going down a little bit, yes.
It would have been nice to see Leeds do well because they had a nice brand of football.
But it is just so typical Leeds, like honestly, doing this. Like they've done that since they started, since they returned to Premier League. They start good, then it goes up, then it goes down, and it's very like hit and miss. Like just the first season, I think they were top 10 or something, right below that if they didn't. And then last season they were 17. So it's just so typical them having this, and even just in the seasons, have this up and down thing, and yeah. So nothing new there, but it surprises me every time because it's so like their best is just really, really good. Like Harrison, Rodrigo, amazing midfield, but their worst is just really, really bad. So yeah, it is crazy. It is.
Yeah. The second game was West Ham Fulham. Andreas, we'll come to you first. West Ham.
Yeah, West Ham needs this. West Ham really needs this. And I like West Ham so to see this. I don't think I've watched the game, so I don't have the exact highlights or stuff like that. But like, great for West Ham. I think I don't know where Fulham is in the table, but
the 9th at the moment.
Okay, but they lost the last game as well, didn't they? Yeah, so they have to be a little bit worried. I would say. I think Mitrovic is injured, right?
Yeah, he was a big loss, that's for sure. He scores a lot of their goals and a lot comes through him.
And I think that's really, really what we are seeing right now, because he is their Haaland, and maybe even more important to Fulham than Haaland is to City, because without Mitrovic, Fulham really has struggles in the offensive. So that's really, really interesting to see how much he means. But he has meant so much for a long time. Like even before they got relegated, when they were in Premier League, he really was important to them as well. So I think that's really what we're seeing with Fulham right now. That they started great, but without him, it's not looking good. But for West Ham, great to see. I hope they can keep this up. But I can't. I'm a bit worried that this is more because Mitrovic was not there. Like I will be interested to see if West Ham would have won if Mitrovic was playing. So yeah, but I hope this is just West Ham being great, but I'm not quite sure yet. I need to see more.
Fair enough. Warren, quick thoughts?
Yes. Fulham started strong. Andreas Pereira, they scored a goal. 5 minutes in, amazing shot. West Ham dropped the defenses, and then I think they just lost everything. But a lot of things went wrong for Fulham, or went against them, would I rather say. I don't think that penalty should have been awarded. You could clearly see Dawson is pushing Andreas in the penalty area, and just to get, you could see in the build-up that was going to happen. The ref gave he didn't even go look at the monitor. Just gave the penalty, and Bowen scores, obviously, and then there was the issue of the handball with Skamaka. So a lot of things went wrong for Fulham, kind of like with the Liverpool-Arsenal game, where decisions were made that was a bit questionable by the officiators. But at the end of the day, I'm not taking anything away from West Ham. Deserved the win, just based on how they played. But yeah, Fulham gave it a good try, but again, I think they're missing Mitrovic, and it's clearly showing.
Okay. We will move on to the final game on Sunday. Manchester United, of course, back in winning form after the City game. Actually, I was looking at a statistic. They've won 5 out of their last 6 games. United, they've only dropped points against City, so they're actually in a really decent place. Erik ten Hag really seems to have kind of revitalised things at Manchester United. They've had wins over Liverpool and Arsenal. I think they've got 15 points out of the last 18 available points. They seem to be back on track. The big talking point here, I guess, is Everton took the lead. Richard?
Yeah, I was actually watching this game at a pub on my birthday after watching the Liverpool loss to Arsenal. I think I've said this before. A crush of mine had a crush on Iwobi, so it made me pissed off that this guy scored. But it literally came out of nowhere. We were just chilling, and then out of nowhere, Everton was able to get the better of United in terms of their instability at the moment, and then Iwobi scored a very, very beautiful goal, and then the game went on, and I'm like, okay, maybe United might be losing. This is a good thing. And then out of nowhere, Anthony scores. And I mean, this guy, like after this goal, I literally made my transfers in FPL to get Anthony on my team because from that, like that goal is just beautiful. It's almost like what you'd expect to see from a young Cristiano Ronaldo. It's just beautiful. And then another shock in the game was after 30 minutes into the game, we see Cristiano being subbed on. And I'm like, what? Why? Obviously, because Martial got injured in the game, but it's like, it was pretty interesting seeing Cristiano get in at such an early point. I mean, a lot of people were saying he's finished, but somehow he was able to be lucky enough to get that goal. And everyone on my Instagram, WhatsApp, Facebook was just saying that, oh, the GOAT is back. Hallelujah. He's the best person in the world. And I was like, it's just one game, babes. Chill.
Yeah, I think it was a bit of a surprise to see Ronaldo coming on instead of like someone like Sancho, for instance, who has been a fixture of the team so far. They could have put Marcus Rashford back into the 9 and then brought Sancho on to replace him out on the left. But yeah, that was a strange one. But look, it worked. Ten Hag makes odd changes, but they seem to work for him. I think Anthony's actually scored 3 in a row now. He scored in the Arsenal game, he scored in the City game, and he scored again last night, or against Everton on Sunday. The big news also from this was Cristiano's 700 goals. Andreas?
Yeah, I think Ronaldo still got it. Like I do. I know we are talking a lot about this because we have some big Ronaldo fans, and then we have me and Richard. That's more Messi. But yeah, Ronaldo is still a great player, and I don't think that. I think it's just him and United. It's just not working, and I think it's 100% that mashup that just doesn't work more than it's Ten Hag being stupid or Ronaldo being a bad player. I don't think it's any of that. I think Ronaldo is still great, and I think Ten Hag is really, really, really doing great with this. So I think just the best for both parts are to get Ronaldo to get to another club in January. I really hope that's the case for everyone involved in this. And with Ten Hag, yeah, he makes some weird decisions, but at the same time, I really like that because he really, like, I don't remember the guy's name before Ten Hag, but the United manager, what's his name?
Alfred.
What? The guy before Ten Hag. Yeah, it doesn't matter. But the manager that was before Ten Hag, he was like, yeah, he was playing like, he was not playing his own style. He was going by what was expected, and Ronaldo had to play, so he had to do that. Yeah. And where Ten Hag is making this his own team, and I think that's really, really good, and we can see that it works. And Anthony, what a signing! Like, what an amazing signing. So just great, and I mean this is a match that they should win. But Everton is not bad. I remember we talked last week about Everton being really bad in offensive and better in defensive. But I have looked at stats for it, and Everton has scored 8 and conceded 9, and that's after the United game. So it has been really like they are very balanced in their offensive and defensive.
Okay.
Conceding 8 goals, not the best. Scoring 8 goals, not the best. But it's very balanced in that team. So great for United, and expected that they are winning though. But yeah.
Fair enough. The final game of the weekend. I think I put a thing in. I think I put a meme in our chat last night about this. The fact that Nottingham Forest won, Aston Villa won. I think I put in a meme saying that, oh, there's a game on. I think it was pretty much forgotten about because of all the weekend's games, and I think usually we kind of anticipate Monday to be, for a big team, we don't really expect it to be two smaller teams, and I think all the bigger teams have played, so everyone kind of forgot about it. But yeah, it did take place. We'll come to you, Warren.
Yeah, I watched the game because Nottingham Forest, I like watching them play. Even though the manager makes some weird decisions when it comes to who to start, but I guess with 23 new signings, you probably have a plethora of people to put on your bench and who to play. Seeing Jesse Lingard on the bench, shocker. Nico Williams on the bench, shocker. Didn't expect that. But they scored. Emmanuel Dennis scored from a set piece, and kind of thought, oh crap, what's happening with Aston Villa now? And then 8 minutes later, Ashley Young from out of nowhere. He scores a screamer, and nobody expected it. He hasn't scored in the league, I think, since 2012, or I think, or what? He's like 38 or something. But he kind of saved them, and then the game kind of went like back and forth, and it was one of those games where one goal would have just decided it, but it never came, and I was actually happy about it because my prediction was spot on, 1-1. And I was like praying, no, please don't score again. But great. I think Nottingham Forest needed that win more than Villa. But I think Villa is kind of like stuck in a rut at the moment where they keep drawing and they can't get the 3 points, and that could hurt them later down the road.
Fair enough. Richard, any thoughts?
Not much, but I think with the amount of goals that Nottingham has conceded in the Premier League so far, I'd expect that Aston Villa would score at least 2 goals. But there was a lot of things that didn't go well for Aston Villa as well. So I do think they were lucky to get away with at least 1 point in this game. But obviously we know, even though Nottingham has shown so much heart in their games, just doesn't seem to be enough, and I'm really worried about them. Maybe the Premier League is just not. It's just the Premier League's level is just too high for them, and I guess that's okay.
Okay, we will move on to the Champions League, shall we? The big game on at the moment is Manchester City versus Copenhagen. That's your team, Andreas.
One of them.
Do you want to talk a little bit about this? It's 0-0 at halftime. Haaland on the bench.
Yeah. Finally. Having him on the bench is the best solution. Like you can't argue that he has been playing a lot, and I think this is good for City to have him on the bench. There actually was a goal, but it got to City, but it got disallowed because of a hand. So yeah, like amazing. Like I thought City would have been ahead. I don't know, 3-4.
2 goals,
3-0 already. I think my prediction was 4-1 to City. So so far so good. But like if Copenhagen can get a draw out of this, it will be amazing. Like it will legit be crazy. And from Copenhagen's side, there still is a Sevilla match where I actually think there are some chances, because Sevilla is looking really, really bad right now. So if Copenhagen could come out of this group third and therefore go to Europa, that would be amazing for them. So, but yeah, like no matter if it's a draw or not, City is the better team, and they already showed that in the last game. But I also know, because the Copenhagen Stadium is where the Danish matches, the national teams matches are being played. Parken. So I know how amazing the fans can be in there, and I think that's a support right now that Copenhagen is using a lot, and probably one of the reasons that it's only 0-0.
City are down to 10 actually, by the way. Sergio Gomez got a red card on 30 minutes, which never helps anything. The big shock actually at the moment is that Maccabi Haifa are beating Juventus 2-0.
Amazing.
Crazy. I don't think anyone would have expected that. The big fixture tonight is AC Milan against Chelsea. We'll come back to you, Andreas. Seeing as Chelsea are your side.
3-0 to us again. Now, if that happens, I think I predicted that, but that will be crazy. But if we win 3-0 against Milan, then 3 matches in a row where we score 3 goals and concede 0, and it will be the second time in a row that we beat Milan 3-0. That will be like crazy. But I think we are winning. I think it's going really, really good for us, and a win here will make the first 2 fixtures. It will not really matter, because that will be really, really good results the last 2 games. So that will be 7 points, I think, after 4 games, and that's good. So yeah, I think we are winning. But Milan is a great team, and before the match against us last week, they were doing pretty good. So you should never underestimate them. I think in general, just the Italian teams are not quite on the level that they have been in the past, and so I will rather face Milan than I will face, honestly, a team from Portugal, to be honest, because I think the teams in Portugal are looking more dangerous right now. But Milan is still a great team, and I just hope for a win here. So yeah.
Fair enough. Either of you two boys have any major opinions on this? No? Okay, we'll move on then. Celtic against Leipzig is on this week as well, tonight. Richard, any thoughts particularly?
Yeah, I mean, I love being a Celtic fan, only to spite a friend of ours, Alistair, who's a huge Rangers fan, because we know Rangers and Celtics have a huge rivalry up here in Scotland. So my favorite player from Celtics is Jota. I mean, that guy, like, stunning. I mean, he's good looking.
I wonder why.
He's just
good looking.
Things are clicking, and it helps that Liverpool also has a Jota that's a flipping good goal scorer, so he has that going. But yeah,
fair enough. Big game tomorrow is Liverpool Rangers, the rematch. Warren, your thoughts?
Yeah, if you asked me this a couple of days ago, I would have said very confident that we might win again. But with Trent out, Diaz is out, Matip is out. I don't know. Honestly, I don't. I think it could be a draw. I don't know. I'm not gonna make a bold prediction. You asked me this a couple of days ago, and I've said hands down Liverpool is winning. But at the rate it's going right now, if we win, great. If we don't, same crap, different day. Basically, that's where my mentality is at this point. We win, we win. If we don't, I mean, it's nothing new.
Yeah, I feel like it's a must-win game for Liverpool, especially with Ajax and Napoli coming up that they will need to try and get a result. That it puts a lot of pressure on those two fixtures if they don't get the win.
But what happens if Rangers lose? Because they've lost every single game so far.
Yeah, Rangers are bottom of the table so far.
If they lose this game, they're probably out of it.
Yeah, they probably would struggle to get Europa as well, which would be a shame.
Yeah, I think if I can quickly talk about the match, I think everything can of course happen. Like especially this season, we have seen Club Brugge beat Atletico
4-0 or something.
The Portugal team suddenly be great. Juventus losing to Haifa, like everything can happen. But I think Liverpool will win. Like I will be really shocked if they don't, because as we have talked about in the past, Rangers are an Europa League team. They are not quite on this level, and that's okay. Like there's nothing bad in that. That makes sense. But Rangers is definitely the weakest team in this group. So unless Liverpool completely lose it, I think Liverpool will win pretty confident.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
Barcelona Inter Milan again this weekend, tomorrow as well. That should be a good game.
Hopefully they can bounce back from last week. Barcelona has not been doing that great.
That was a shock kind of win.
It was a shocker.
Yeah, really big shock. I don't have the group table right now, but Barca needs this win, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, we have it. I think I have it here.
I've got it open here as well. Yeah, they're currently number 3 in the group.
Yeah, they need this, and then
they've
because
got 3 points.
If they can get, then if they beat Victoria Pilsen in the next game, it'll become
guaranteed.
They'll have a very good chance of getting second place in the group, you'd imagine.
Yep.
Yeah,
but I don't see Bayern. I don't see Bayern losing any points at this point.
Exactly, completely agree with that. Bayern is.
I think Barca will. I think if they can get result out of 2 out of 3 games, if they can win 2 out of 3, I think they're through.
I think both Barca and Inter are better than Pilsen, and I think both of them are weaker than Bayern. So
it's going to come down to those 2 teams.
Exactly.
Definitely.
I think it comes down to this match. To be honest, I think this match will decide. The winner of this match will be second in that group. That's what I expect. And I think honestly, Barca is a better team than Inter. So that's why last week was such a big shock. So my prediction is that Barca is winning this, because Barca know they have to win this. But like
they have to, because they've lost 2 games now.
And I think Barca, like we talk a lot about DNA and all that kind of stuff. Barca have not enough DNA to be able, and mentality to be able to know that they have to win this and be able to win this. But like everything can happen. But my prediction is Barca is winning.
Okay. Yeah, I think Barca's gonna win. I mean, the game is gonna be at home, so they really don't have an excuse to not win, especially having one of the best strikers in the world, in my opinion, in Robert Lewandowski. I mean, Inter's at 7th place. They've lost 4 times in their home league. Barcelona hasn't lost a game in La Liga, so that says something. They're even number 1 in the table. So Barca just needs to get it together. It should be an easy win for them, and
no, I think they should win it if they on paper, but we all know that paper doesn't always.
Yeah, of course, there's more to it than paper, and I don't think it will be easy, but I think Barca is the better team. So if they go out on the pitch really at their best, I think Barca will be much stronger.
We'll move on to Spurs Frankfurt. This should be an easy win for Spurs realistically on paper, but last week showed that is not always the case. Richard?
Look, after watching that, the English Premier League game, with seeing how, it's almost like Harry Kane and Son have this telepathic way of playing. They just do these 1-2s out of nowhere, and it's quite sad to sometimes see them end a game by just scoring 1 goal instead of 2 or 3, as they usually did last season. I mean, I think this season, in terms of English Premier League, the best duo is Haaland and De Bruyne. And obviously, the previous season was Son and Harry. So I'm really hoping that Conte can figure out what's wrong with the team, so that we actually do see what we love seeing in Tottenham. Otherwise, if Tottenham don't do well, then it's just going to be a chain of unfortunate events, in my opinion. They'd just be done.
I feel like their midfield is just a little bit weak. I think up front, they're really class up front. Defense is okay, but I think that midfield is probably the weak area for them, personally.
Højbjerg is quite decent. Benteke is someone that I'm 50-50 on, so who knows. I think if they'd gotten Eriksen, it would have been much better, but obviously we don't want to get into that.
Yeah, if they had Eriksen along with Højbjerg, just an entire Danish midfield, that would have been amazing. I think looking at, like, if we compare to Premier League, when Spurs can go out and defeat Brighton, then they should be able to go out and beat Frankfurt, because I would say Brighton is right now stronger than Frankfurt is. And Frankfurt, that's the exact same thing like with Rangers. They are an Europa League team. But like, they're doing great right now. And I also think I think Frankfurt is doing okay right now in Champions League, also because Spurs is not doing amazing. And those things, work together. But I have Spurs winning. I think it would be really, really bad for them if they can win this, because it's not the most difficult group. They should be able to go out and win. But I also think it's kind of crazy, but I think Spurs in Premier League are a much better team than they are in Champions League. Can't explain why. I don't know why that's the case, but I think it's two different teams in a weird way, because they're doing much better when they play Premier League than they do when they play Champions League, at least this season. So yeah, I think that's an interesting fact.
Fair enough. Unless Warren has any thoughts on this, we can move on to the Europa League. Okay, we'll move on to the Europa League. Quickly, we have Man United against Omonia on Thursday. This is at Old Trafford, so I would think it's safe to say United will win big. I know they had a bit of a shock last week in Cyprus. Omonia took the lead. Coming a bit of a habit, United giving away the lead, isn't it? They've done that a lot recently in games where they've conceded the first goal. It was I think it happened in the Arsenal game. It happened against Omonia. It happened against Everton. It's becoming a bit of a thing, but I think we can probably expect United to clean up here, Warren.
Yeah, definitely. And I just think that they've got the confidence now, just going off the back of that win from Sunday. And they're a bit of a roll, and I think the new players that came in, Martinez and Anthony and Casemiro, and even with Ronaldo, I think he's going to start definitely on Thursday night. And I think they can, and Sancho is probably going to start because he was on the bench. But just the group of players that they've got in their squad, it should be an easy game for them. But I mean, this is Champions League and stranger things have happened. But I do believe that United is going to win. I can't say by how much, but I think they're winning this one, definitely.
Fair enough. Richard, any thoughts?
I mean, United conceded 2 goals to this Omonia team, or whatever they're called. They don't even have a badge on Google. So I mean, if it ends up in a draw, I wouldn't be surprised. A 2-2 draw. It wouldn't be too much of a shock. Like I said, there's something about English Premier League top teams that just makes them not perform well in the English Premier League, with the exception of City, of course. But I don't know what's up. But something's gonna give.
Fair enough.
That's like quickly. That's very spot on. That there is something lacking when they are playing these international games. Both United, Spurs, Chelsea as well in the beginning of Champions League. It's really interesting. And I don't know quite what's up, because I still think they are really great teams, but something is lacking.
It is weird because Liverpool is playing better in the Champions League than they're playing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's always been that way if you think
Well-
of it. So hopefully we win the
Well,
Champions League.
just. I think they're
Yeah,
just
just,
playing.
Yeah.
If you compare the two, if you compare the
lose to
two,
Napoli. They did lose. Let me just get the.
they only lost to Napoli. They only lost to Napoli.
Yeah, they lost to Napoli. Yeah, they beat Ajax and Rangers.
And everyone does that. Everyone loses to Napoli.
Napoli.
I think that this game is at Old Trafford, so I don't think it'll be too.
I think they're
too
winning,
much.
definitely.
I think it. I don't think United will concede too much. I think it should be.
Unless they
either
do something crazy.
Want to make
Yeah.
a bet?
We'll move on to Arsenal Bodo Glimt. This is in Bodo Glimt. I think this is in Norway, is it, Andreas? Bodo Glimt?
Yeah, Norway.
Yeah, the Norwegian side. Do you want to take this one, Andreas?
Yeah. Do you have the whistle for last week? I don't remember that.
Yeah, I can get that.
Okay. Yeah.
up.
So no matter what the whistle was, Bodo Glimt is a really, really good team actually. And I think they came to quarterfinals or semifinals in. I don't remember.
Arsenal won 3-0 last week with a
What was
much changed team. 3-0.
They
Arsenal won
3-0.
with a lot of changes.
Yeah. So, but Bodo Glimt is a pretty good team. I think it was. I don't remember if it was Conference or Europa, but last season they came pretty far in one of them. So a really, really good team. But like it is Arsenal, and Arsenal is a great team. But I think for Arsenal and everyone else again in Premier League, there is this kind of weird feeling about it not being quite on the level that they are performing in their own league. But yeah, Arsenal should win, and I think United and Arsenal are both. I think we talked about it last week that both Arsenal and United are still doing really, really good. Where when you have a team like West Ham, it's a different conversation because they're not great right now. So if you had said Bodo Glimt versus West Ham, I could have predicted Bodo Glimt will win that one because West Ham is where they are right now. But it like Arsenal has much more money, is a much bigger team than Bodo Glimt will ever be. So of course Arsenal has to be favored in that one.
Fair enough. Warren?
Yeah, Arsenal is winning.
Quick and easy.
Quick thoughts.
Arsenal.
Yeah. We'll go to West Ham against Anderlecht. West Ham actually pulled off a shock 1-0 win against Anderlecht last week. Thoughts, Richard?
Yeah, West Ham.
Quick thoughts: West Ham won't win. Just kidding. I don't know. Look, man, I think the past two performances, they've won the games. I mean, Declan Rice, especially Bowen, has really come to form. So hopefully, I mean, there's nothing more disappointing than doing bad in this new Conference League thing. So I don't know. Fingers crossed, like Warren is saying, that they win, but who cares?
Fair enough.
Yeah,
Warren?
Yeah, West Ham. Hope they win coming up from Sunday. But it's like a lucky packet with them, You open it up and see what's gonna. If there's something nice in it, and one day you open it up and it's something bad you don't like.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. I don't have a prediction. Hopefully West Ham does win. If they don't, it's no big skin of my nose. It is what it is.
Yeah, I think quickly with this match, I think this is much more interesting than the other two is because Anderlecht is a top team in Belgium and is a team that should be in at least Conference League. So they could do better. They could honestly be in Europa League, to be honest, Anderlecht. So really, really, really interesting. I think West Ham is winning because of last week, but it could go either way, to be honest.
Could go either way, yeah, definitely.
Fair enough. Well, that is it. Thank you everyone for watching. Please like, subscribe, and we'll be back here next week. Thank you very much.